Secondly, not only the cost, I think that districts would promote diversity. You can't get a Hispanic American elected citywide in this city. Southwest Detroit, you could, and they certainly deserve representation on city council. You can't get a white male elected on city council in this city. I'm not advocating for Burt Leland one way or the other, but he seems to do well in Northwest Detroit. I think he could get elected in a district system. He can't get elected citywide. Same thing for Chaldean or Arab American. You can't get elected citywide. We need a system in which everybody is inclusive, and I think that the city council would benefit from the diversity. Third, and the final point on districts, I believe that districts would also promote more involvement by ordinary citizens. We've got to do something. I mean, we probably won't have any more than 3 to 5% increase in the general election from the primary, and the primary was only about 17%. That's dismal. That's about 100,000 people voting out of 622,000 registered voters. We've got to do something to galvanize people and get them more involved in the process. I think districts would do that. So, charter, another thing in the charter, I don't think that the city council person should be elected by popular vote. I think that the 9 members that are elected, and I don't really believe that we need 9, I think there should be 7, but the number of members that are elected should vote and select the council president. Most important with the city charter, I think we got to strengthen the ethics ordinance. There's no accountability, there's no transparency. We have an ethic ordinance that has no teeth. People are doing what they want. On city council, if I'm given the privilege to serve, there'll be a $600,000 budget that I can do whatever I pretty much want to do. I think that there needs to be rules. I think that there needs to be some type of order on the city council, so I think the charter is where you mandate that take place. There are many other things I'd like to see in the charter, but I'll reserve that and hope that you have another question. Go out and support them and put on a campaign to support small businesses. I mean, for 30 years, this city has had a development strategy that was built around these grandiose development plans. If you build Pole Town, all of these businesses will build around it. It didn't happen. Around Pole Town looks like a bomb went off. City Airport. If we expand City Airport and you'll see businesses come up around it. Well, City Airport looks like a bomb went off around it. They tried to put the casinos down on the riverfront. You ended up paying out millions of dollars, and the riverfront looks no better than it looked. So that plan didn't work. I think we need a new strategy. We need a strategy that is centrally focused on neighborhoods and community. A community neighborhood strategy. Let's give people and small businesses in the neighborhood the same types of incentives that you give these big box developers. It's going to be neighborhoods that bring this city back. It's going to be families that bring it back, not your empty nesters or your single folks that are moving into the downtown area. We need families back in town, and to do that, you're going to have to raise the density of population in viable neighborhoods. And so we need a master plan that will shoehorn the 750 to 800,000 people that I believe we have into viable neighborhoods. If you're able to do that, if you're able to give incentives to people to move out of unviable neighborhoods into viable neighborhoods, then you will increase the density of population, and I think you'll see the bakeries, the stores, the small businesses, which are going to be the entities that produce jobs and improve the city, in my opinion. I don't know who said that, but yeah, I'll address it. Here's what I hear. Why should we elect you, Gary Brown, when you sued the city and now you want to get another salary by working for the city? That's what I hear most often. Because if somebody says, am I going to give the money back, it's absolutely no. No, I'm not going to give it back. Number one, with regards to a pension, I have a great pension from the city of Detroit. Nobody gave it to me. I earned it. I spent 26 years in the Detroit Police Department. I spent 15 years in the narcotic division where I did drug raids twice a day trying to make our neighborhood safe. I got shot in the back. The bullet came out my groin. It hit another officer in the spine. He retired immediately. I continued working for 26 years. Nobody gave me a pension. I don't pay into Social Security. It's all my family has after I'm gone. I earned the pension. Nobody gave it to me. Secondly, with regards to the lawsuit, I begged the city to settle the lawsuit. They refused to do it. For 4.5 years, they took me to the appeals court. They took me to the Supreme Court. 2 weeks before the trial, I begged the city to settle. I did a mock trial. I paid $10,000. I hired real Wayne County jurors, 24 of them. I sent the data to the information which showed the jury wanted to give me $10 million on one side and $12 million on the other. I asked them not to settle I begged them to settle the case. They refused to do it. I offered to not even file the lawsuit if they would just give me a full pension. They refused to do it. I was fired illegally. I proved it, and the jury awarded me the dollars I would have received had I continued to work throughout my career. I made $116,000 a year. I lost my job. The jury found that people had lied in the city, and they awarded me the sum of money that I would have earned in pension and salary had I stayed for the rest of my career. So I'm not apologizing for filing the lawsuit. Finally, with regards to the salary, if I'm elected to the city council, number one, I've already stated, I will not take a car. I'll buy my gas at 7 Mile in Livernois. I'll get my insurance from Charlotte Knight at 7 Mile in Livernois. When I hit a pothole at 7 Mile in Livernois, I'll fix my own tire. I won't take any stipend. I won't take any perk. I don't need a driver. I'll take any cut that any city employee has to take. And if the city goes into receivership, I'll do the job for free. But I will take a salary. It will require 12 to 14-hour days work in order to do the work down at the city county building and then keep the community informed. I'd be leery of any person who said that they wanted to do this job for free. You don't want to devalue a city council position to the point that it's worthless. So that's my position on all three issues. It wasn't under my watch. I was over at narcotics working at that time. I didn't take over internal affairs, and I changed the name of it to the Professional Accountability Bureau until 2002. All of those incidents happened just prior to that. Eugene Brown did work for me. He worked at the tactical, at TSS, Tactical Services Section. He was working for me on the night that he shot at several young men that were stealing merchandise out of a Toys R Us store. I went out to Southfield Police Department where he was being held. I categorically proved that he was lying in that particular case through a 911 tape that I had gotten. I turned it over to someone else that was in charge of internal affairs. I wrote a letter to the law department saying that I had done some background check on Eugene Brown, and that if there were a worse liability to this city than him, then I've never seen it before, and I turned over all the files in which Eugene Brown had been in shootings. And when you looked at them, the situations were always almost identical, right? You could almost hold up the reports and they were the same. I took that to the law department. I took that to Benny Napoleon, who was the chief of police at that particular time, and he, after that, initiated the investigation that the Shoulders report was generated from. I was asked to review the Shoulders report. I reviewed it and said it was a piece of garbage, basically, and that there was too much a lack of investigative investigation that had taken place, and that it should be done over. And so I wasn't in charge of internal affairs. It wasn't my responsibility to do any of those things, but I felt a duty after I looked into his background and saw how many shootings he had been in, that he was a person that at least we needed to take an opportunity to look at.